Okay, in this video we're looking at some of the main reasons for the emergence of globalization. So what has caused globalization to increase at such an alarming rate over particularly the last 30 years? So the five main reasons is that they've got the lower cost of labour, which is associated with the International Division of Labour, new technology and transportation, the relaxation of government controls. We've sort of talked about that in the past in relation to lower tariffs and things like that. Deregulation of key markets, which is related to the relaxation of government controls, and some of the cost savings from economies of scale. So first of all, one of the main reasons for the accelerating rate of globalization and the fact that multinational businesses have expanded is this idea of an international division of labour. And basically what that means is that the production process is broken down into different sections, with workers being assigned different stages or tasks. So countries will focus on one part of the production process, and then another country will specialise in another area where they have comparative advantage. So for example, manufacturing is generally done in low-wage countries. Even though the company may be owned by another nation, so it might be a transnational company, the manufacturing part of the business may be done in a low-wage country with the idea of trying to save money in the form of wages. So with China developing and wages increasing there, some companies have started to move towards Bangladesh and Fiji and Vietnam to try and take advantage of their lower labour costs. So transnational companies split their operations across borders, while other companies will outsource certain operations overseas. That's what international division of labour is all about. Splitting up the production process into different parts, and different countries taking on different parts of the production process, to try and take advantage of savings and specialising in areas where we're the most efficient. The main reasons why it's promoted globalisation, so that idea of businesses being able to take advantage of wage differentials to help lower their labour costs. The absence of minimum wages in certain countries has encouraged certain businesses to shift their manufacturing base to certain countries. And the rise in technology makes it easier to transport goods across the globe. So if we do want to separate our operations in different sections, it's very easy to do so because it's easy to transport those goods across the globe at a much quicker pace. Second reason is economies of scale. So economies of scale is when businesses experience cheaper production costs when they increase their level of output, or the higher the volume of output that they produce. So what the idea is that businesses have a certain amount of fixed costs, and these fixed costs are basically the costs that don't change regardless of the volume of output. So if we set up a business with a manufacturing plant, regardless of how many units we actually sell, the costs of setting up that plant or that operation, that building, is going to be exactly the same. So the more we're able to produce with that building and that infrastructure, the more we can split those fixed costs over a greater volume of output, and therefore we're able to make more money per unit of output. So the desire to achieve economies of scale has encouraged multinational firms to expand across borders to take advantage of larger foreign markets. So the idea is that what they're able to do is produce on a much grander scale, and therefore they split their fixed costs over a greater level of output, and therefore it's cheaper to produce per unit of output. So while the variable costs will increase, so for example if we're making pizzas, that'd be the cost for the cheese and the packaging and the dough, etc., etc. There's fixed costs, so the fixed costs for the rent of that pizza shop or the manager's salary, all those costs that don't change per unit of pizza would be the same. So businesses that are able to increase the size of their operations are able to split those fixed costs, and that's what globalization allows businesses to do. They can produce in bulk and export to a much larger market, and therefore they can produce a wider range of the similar product, and therefore take advantages of the fact that they are splitting those fixed costs over a greater volume of output. So here's just an example that you can use. You can see here this is a car manufacturing plant. When they're producing 1 unit of output, their fixed costs are $50 million, and therefore if they're producing one car, the total variable cost is $5,000, so their total cost would be $50 million and $5,000. That's wrong, I should say $5,000 there. But the more that they produce, once they start producing 10 cars, the cost per unit is only just over $5 million, and then once they're producing 5,000 cars, they've got their cost down to $15,000 per unit per car. So by spreading their fixed costs, they're able to lower their cost per unit of output. And by the time they're making 50 million cars, it's only costing them $5,001 per unit of output. So that's what economies of scale is. It's about spreading fixed costs over a greater level of output. And as you can see here, the more units we produce, the cheaper it costs us to produce, and therefore we take advantage because we can sell them at a cheaper price because they're being produced at a lower price. I'll talk about the next two in the next